What's up, everybody? We are back here at Red Zone Sports to bring you another edition. This one being focused on 5 running backs that you need to draft this year in best ball and fantasy football to have success. Before I do, don't forget to hit that like button on the video. If you're listening on podcast or anything else, please subscribe. It helps us a ton. Let's get to it. So I'm not going to touch on the obvious names, so please don't come at me in the comments and say, what do you mean you didn't mention Christian McCaffrey? I'm not talking about the top guys. Obviously, if you can get your hands on guys like Christian McCaffrey, Nick Chubb, Austin Eckler, Bijan Robinson, yes, you want to draft those players. They're amazing. There's nothing bad to say about them. But I'm going to touch on 5 guys here that I think beyond, let's say, round 2 or in that round 2, round 3 and beyond, that you should be taking shots on in both season-long fantasy football as well as best ball. So let's get to it. My first one up is Miles Sanders. So Sanders is coming off of his best season as a pro. 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns. He got paid, got the bag, went to Carolina. Let's be honest, Carolina's going to want to protect Bryce Young by running the football, right? Like they don't want to be out there throwing 30, 45 times a game. And the other thing that I really love about Miles Sanders here is before Frank Reich was fired in Indianapolis last year, so take last season out, his teams ranked 5th, 10th, and 5th over the previous 3 seasons in rushing attempts. So put all those things together. Miles Sanders is going to tote the rock a lot this year. He's got a pretty good offensive line. They've got better weapons on the outside. I know they lost DJ Moore, but they are going to lean heavily on Miles Sanders to carry this offense and protect Bryce Young in year 1. So moving on to number 2, Javonte Williams. I talked about him last year in my preview. He was off to a really, really good start in an otherwise horrid situation there. I'm going right back to the well. All reports are that he looks like he's going to start playing in preseason and get some action here, which is a great sign. Obviously, he is healthy coming back. He was looking damn electric and great in that offense last season. Now he gets Sean Payton, who's going to run the ball and use him in the passing game as well. I expect kind of an Alvin Kamara type role for him. I know they got Samaje Perine and some other guys that are going to pound the rock in between the tackles, but Javonte is going to be used as an explosive playmaker. I think the offensive line is vastly improved. Signing guys like Mike McGlinchey, who has his issues in the passing game, but undisputed in the running game is fantastic. And Garrett Bowles returns for this offensive line. So he is absolutely going to be one of my top targets and best ball and season long to be targeting. Javonte Williams, make sure you get some pieces of him. Next up, DeAndre Swift. So if you follow our content, you know that every week in DFS, I will never play DeAndre Swift, or at least I didn't. He could just never seem to either A, stay healthy, and B, in that rotation, for whatever reason in Detroit, he would have some spike games, but he could just never quite sustain it and keep it going. I think we're going to see that change in Philadelphia. They did not sign him to a huge deal. I think they are going to absolutely pound him as much as they can. He gets now the best offensive line, I think, in the league, up there with the Chiefs. Yes, he's still going to rotate. There's some guys there. Kenny Gainwell. I know everybody's hot. And Rashad Penny, who also can't stay healthy, but he's going to have an opportunity to have a big, big year, I think. And he's going to be used heavily in that passing game as well for Philadelphia. So DeAndre Swift is somebody I'm going to be targeting heavily in best ball and season long this year. Moving on, number 4. This one is going to take some flack. I know it just because I follow Twitter and I follow everybody talking. Najee Harris. Everyone's selling their Najee stock. I don't understand, and I'll gladly buy it. Pittsburgh has invested in their offensive line this offseason by drafting Broderick Jones out of Georgia. They signed Isaac Seumalo at guard. Najee was also dealing with a ton of nagging injuries last season. I think his toe and a few other things. The guy was not super efficient, but he still surpassed 1,000 yards and had 53 targets through the air. If he can improve his efficiency with a better offensive line, with Kenny Pickett managing that offense a little bit better, the volume's there. He's going to be primed for another strong season. I think he's got a very high floor, and he does have potential to absolutely bust out as a huge, huge season this year for a guy that does have a looming contract coming down the pipeline, and he's been very vocal about that. So this is a guy who wants to show out and get paid here coming up soon. Najee Harris, number 4 for me. Number 5, I'm going to go a little bit off the board here. This one's going to be probably what a lot of people weren't expecting, and that's Tank Bigsby. Look, this guy is a former 5-star recruit. He led Auburn in rushing all 3 years he was there. I know a lot of people are going to say, what do you mean? He's the backup, Travis Etienne. Look, Tank Bigsby is going to get a lot of short yardage touches. He's going to mix in quite a bit because they want to keep Etienne healthy. And he's going to get a lot of the goal line opportunities in this offense. So I think this offense, and they should be in the red zone a lot. I think Tank Bigsby has 8 to 10 touchdown upside. Think maybe not quite as much, but like a Jamal Williams did in Detroit last year. If you get a piece of him in very late rounds, this is a guy that could absolutely dominate for your team and be a really sleepy pick. Also keep in mind, not that we want this to happen at all, Travis Etienne does have injury history, right? So don't want this to happen, but you have a guy here who's going to mix in a lot. He's going to get goal line touches a lot. And if Etienne does go down, Tank Bigsby steps in as the undisputed bell cow of that offense. And they're going to be one of the best offenses in the league. So Tank Bigsby is going to be somebody on my radar, late rounds for sure. Those are my 5 guys, I think, below the radar a little bit that you could get in the second, third, fourth, fifth round and beyond. Outside of the obvious guys, once again, Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams, DeAndre Swift, Najee Harris, and Tank Bigsby. That's all I got for the best 5 running backs you need to keep your eye on and get a piece of. Good luck to y'all.